more than they do is they seem to look upon their life dream, their ambition, as a sort of fanciful mental picture, something that has no definite basis in reality. These people never take their life mission very seriously and consequently never grow to their full stature. Yet that is just what we are here to do. We were not thrown off as independent, unrelated units of the universe. There is still just as vital a connection between ourselves and our Maker as there is between the branch and the vine. Longings are in a way a reflection of the universal plan. Those who have faith in themselves feel that their ambitions are evidences of ability to back them by accomplishment to make their dreams realities. Abraham Lincoln was a very modest, unassuming man. The presidential election was near at hand. The Spirit moved him to put himself forward as the leader of the nation. When the politicians were looking around for a suitable man for that great position, Lincoln asked them why they did not nominate him. He said he felt within his breast the power to carry the nation through the threatened crisis, and that he believed he would be elected. Coming from a less modest man, this assurance would look like a boast, but Lincoln's motives were pure, and his faith, based upon a marvelous fitness for the work to be done, carried him to success. The history makers have ever had overmastering convictions in regard to their life's work. They have believed in their vision and the part they were to play. They have believed their ambition foreshadowed a prophecy that it was the substance of things expected and not a mere figment of the imagination. In other words, men who have won out in the world have been profound believers in their destiny. The faith of such men impresses us with the conviction of their power. We all feel there is something about the man who believes in his destiny that commands our respect, our homage. The world itself makes way for the man who believes he was born to play a grand part in the human drama. The world makes way for such a man or such a woman as it made way for the peasant maid of Orleans. Practically all of Joan of Arc's miraculous power over the French army was due to her conviction of a divine call to free her country from its enemies. Beyond doubt that the army under her leadership would be victorious. From the time when a little girl tending her father's sheep, she first heard the call in her soul, her faith was unshakable. What good did it do for Joan's father to threaten to drown his daughter if she persisted in her silly dreams that she was to liberate France? What effect had ridicule, especially the coarse ridicule of her sex by the soldiers, on her deep-rooted conviction? Was there ever anything more foolish than that of a simple peasant maid who tended sheep on a farm, who had ridicule, abuse, and contempt? Her supreme faith ameliorated them all. They left her absolutely unmoved. By faith alone, the simple maid performed one of the greatest miracles of history. No human being, even with the mental power of Napoleon, without a superb military training, could have performed the miracle which this uneducated, untrained peasant girl performed. What good did it do for the wise men of Italy and Spain to laugh at Columbus and to picture at their meeting in court men standing on their heads? It was this faith born in the divine within him, this faith back of the flesh, but not of it, which sustained him in all his trials, both before and after his great discovery. The men who have left their mark on the world have had a faith which nothing could shake. Not the direst poverty, the most inhospitable treatment, not cruelty, not ridicule, could separate them from their belief in their mission and their resolve to carry it out. When a man's faith in himself and in his mission, or her mission, is the dominant note in their life, nothing can daunt them, no power can keep them from their own. Think of the faith which Perry exhibited before he discovered the North Pole. Time and time again he tried to find it, risking life and all his resources in the search. The loss of his ship. His friends pleaded with the explorer not to risk his life again, but to no purpose. To the North Pole was the slogan, which haunted him day and night until at last he found it. Faith is the force that moves mountains, that has ever performed the miracles of been done in the world's history by souls aroused to a sense of their own power. Who can ever estimate what the mental attitude of self-confidence has accomplished? Who can figure what the world has lost from the inaction, but who would actually be advanced if they only had sufficient faith in themselves to branch out and compete for the superior place? There are men in all sorts of inferior positions who in many instances are abler than the managers and superintendents over them, but who do not know their strength because they have never tested it. Not long ago, a friend of mine, a comparatively young man, was unexpectedly called to fill temporarily a position much above his own, which had suddenly become vacant. So well, however, did he fulfill the duties aimed at being advanced so suddenly. In fact, he had begun to have a feeling that he did not amount to much, that he was a kind of failure anyway. He knew he had ability in certain directions, but he did not dare to start or to go ahead with anything. Businessmen showed their belief in him by entrusting him with the handling of a large business. His power was trebled. His awakened faith in himself made a man of him. He began to think he amounted to something, that he was somebody. How you approach your life work, whether you come to it with a superb faith in yourself, an unshakable belief in the power that sustains you, and a firm determination to make a triumphant success of it, or whether you come to it with a faint heart